Hello, I'm Jamar Laster, Content Director of Impressions, and welcome to the Impressions Podcast. Today, we'll be talking with Penny Massey, owner of T-Shirts for Hope, about the role T-shirts play in spreading positivity and empowerment, the emphasis of community among apparel decorators, and we'll learn a little bit about her and her shop too. Enjoy! Subscribe to Impressions Expo's YouTube channel, as well as the Impressions Podcast on Apple or Spotify, and check out industry-leading educational content at impressionsmagazine.com and our Impress You online platform. So I wanted to talk to you. You were on my mind as a great person to talk to as we kicked off our podcast, because as our viewers might not know, we did an article on T-Shirts for Hope in our June-July 2021 issue of Impressions. And we did a shop talk profile on T-Shirts for Hope. And I was very impressed with the mission of T-Shirts for Hope. And it seems like you have kind of taken the mantle for T-shirts being ways to spread messages of hope. Can you talk about why it is that you see T-shirts as being central to spreading those messages?
I think that a T-shirt is like a walking billboard. Something that I love about it is the messages that we put on shirts. People who are in our lives, who we see every day, get to see that message. So with me, like if we are doing something with anxiety based, I'm surrounded by people that I talk to, that I mentor, who have anxiety. So they're able to see a positive message that relates to them. I think sometimes in general advertising or billboards, they hit the people that pass that it may not relate to. And I just think that T-shirts are the here and the now, and they speak to the people that really need to see them.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. And I mean, like you said, you're kind of a mental health advocate. And I know that mental health is personal to you because of your own experiences with anxiety. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. I think mental health relates to everybody. I just think society as a whole has made it sound like it's a mental illness. Definition of mental health is actually your emotional health. We all have it. You get tired, you need some sleep, you've had a long day. We all just need to take care of ourselves. So mental health as a whole is everybody. I started with anxiety in 1996. I was a school teacher and found a murdered man underneath my classroom. And that was the first time that I had anxiety. Anybody would have had anxiety.
I know I would have.
Yeah. So that was just kind of the kickoff. I've been ADD my entire life, so always very energetic, a little nervous, but finding a man that was murdered. And my principal said, please keep the kids away from the dead body. I was 21, my cute teaching sweater with the apples, all that kind of stuff. And it kicked off my anxiety. I was just nervous a lot. And it was definitely an experience that most people aren't going to find a dead body, but people experience anxiety in different ways. And I just want people to know it's okay. And you can get past it.
I think we've all seen those shirts that kind of say, it's okay not to be okay, and things like that. I think that there's a lot of truth in that. Talk about the moments when things started to get better for you personally. Describe, how it felt to get the help and support that you needed.
The biggest part, that's how I got into the screen printing industry. I was battling some depression after it. So it wasn't deep, but it was enough to where I didn't really want to get out of bed. I got up, I went to work, I did the regular things, but really just didn't thrive towards anything. I had my kids at that time, so I was a great mom, but I still it was kind of a dark spot. I had always loved decorating T-shirts with hand stamps and just on the computer, all that kind of stuff. So I decided I wanted to do screen printing as a hobby. Okay. And I went with my dad to Atlanta to buy a manual press. And that's what I was going to do. That was the plan. I'd get out of bed. I would do that and give me something to do. And we went up there and ended up with the automatic. And so my hobby that I was going to do just occasionally when I was down in the dumps turned into a full-blown career and a passion. And so I never have a day that I can get stuck in bed because I have customers and have people waiting to hear my messages or for me to share their messages. And it was a God wink, no doubt. But I definitely know that T-shirts are my way of not just me making a statement, but for other people to make a statement without having to say a word. Because when you have anxiety, I avoid conflict.
Okay.
And when you have a bold statement, you usually get some feedback that is going to be conflict. But with a t-shirt, I can say it boldly. I can wear it wherever I want, and I don't have to listen to anybody. So it's a powerful tool.
It's a tool for empowerment. Yeah,
it is. It's very empowering.
Right.
And to be in complete control over it and print whatever I want to print is just, it's awesome.
Now, and so I find that interesting. You said that you and your father were going to buy a manual and you ended up with an automatic. Is that right?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting because when, through our magazine and our shows and everything, we meet so many people in the community, and a lot of people they end up going the route that you intended to go, which was starting off with a manual and then upgrading to an automatic when, the orders start rolling in and they need more high volume production capacity. But you actually started out with the automatic.
My original plan was to buy to buy a manual. I went in, had done all my research, had my check. The company that we went to buy it from did not pay me a lot of attention. Didn't pay me a little attention at all.
Right.
So my dad and I kind of took a walk around the expo, and we came across another company that was not like me at all. So I ended up in the rock station, and Ryan comes up with his hair that was kind of like mine. And he was just quirky, and he was just everything I felt like I needed at that moment, just enthusiastic. And I'm like, I like these people. This is how I want to feel. So anyway, we talked to them about a manual, and then I was like, let me go back to this other place. Let's see how it goes. And they ignored me again. And they kept talking to my dad, and my dad's like, it's her checkbook.
Right.
So when I was ignored again, and I'm sure it had a lot to do with being a woman, because there's not a lot of women, especially buying automatics without their husbands or dads. And so anyway, we went back to Rock, and Brian Richards, whom I love, we were going through the process my dad had never seen before. And Brian commented, he swears he didn't mean it that way, but he asked me how many shirts I print. And I was like, probably 500 a week. And he's like, how old are you? And I was 40. He goes, it's gonna, it might be hard to keep up at that speed. So with my dad, he's like, oh, like my little daughter, she can't do that. So he's like, how about this automatic? And I'm like, no, I don't want to print for a living. I just got out of pharmaceutical sales. I want that kind of income. Sure. So anyway, so we ordered an auto, and it got stuck at sea in Portugal. So during that time, we ordered a manual. So my manual came in, and I had to hire somebody to print my first order because I had no idea what I was doing, because it was going to be a hobby. And then my auto came in, and I just fell in love. It is on our property. I walk to work every day. I love it. I control everything. We only let happy people in. Okay. We don't really invite a lot of people to come. So it stays a positive environment.
Good.
It's great. It's a safe space, and it's a happy place.
Awesome. That's great. Let's talk a little bit about your company. I believe that your company is described as a little bit Japanese, embracing your Asian heritage. Can you talk about the importance of your heritage and how it's influenced T-Shirts for Hope?
Yes. So my grandmother and grandfather met in World War II. My grandmother's full Japanese. My grandfather was an American soldier, and he kept flirting with her, and she had him arrested.
Oh boy.
So he went back to the train station every week because he said I was either going to fight with her and get arrested, or I was going to marry her. Okay. So that just kind of started the whole love story of just how much my grandparents love life. And it was just passed on to my mom. And the Japanese culture just loves people. They are so not just genuine, but dedicated. Okay. My grandmother was very big on gift giving. Every holiday, she wraps gifts and ties them in intricate bows. And you always deliver them with two hands. That's kind of like an honor. So in the US, if you hand two hands, people are like, what is that?
Right.
So we learned the giving part just from her. Every tiny detail she celebrates. And that's just how it was kind of passed down. So we have a lot of traditions that we do. I say a lot. My logo has an origami bird, and the point of that was she had a brain aneurysm and a stroke, and they gave her like 20% chance of living.
Okay.
So we folded 1,000 paper cranes, which in Japanese culture is for good luck or hope. And she came out of it and lived like probably another 20 years till she was 93.
Wow. Wow.
So she lived with my mom and was a big part of the print shop. She would come in,
Okay.
she'd fold the shirts. We let her tie bows on them. She would cut the shirts so we could reuse them for fabric and stuff. So
Sure.
Her pictures all over the shop. When I walk in, there's a picture of the two of us on my circuit breaker box. So I see her first thing in the mornings. On the machine, she's there. She just loved life.
Okay.
And I think, and her point is, when she came from Japan, she wasn't accepted at all. She didn't speak English. And my mom went through the whole thing of that as well in school. So we've always been raised to accept everybody, that everybody's diverse and everybody belongs. So I feel like that's how it is just in the shop, that there's a place for everybody, that we love everybody. Some people are hard to love. And those that are hard to love, we just pray for them. Pray that Jesus just steps in the middle, and because I don't do conflict.
Okay.
But just her love for life and just people in general, to be kind. She never said a mean word. And we laugh because Japanese people don't cuss. Right. So she never cussed. She tried. But so we can literally say, like, my grandmother never said a bad word because she didn't know how to say them. Okay. But, so she had hope for everything. Marriage is struggle. Okay. She'd always say, just pray over it.
And it sounds like the concept of hope is definitely the central kind of theme with the company.
It is. Yeah. Especially when depression and anxiety kicked in. It was just, I knew every day was going to get better. Right. So she's a huge part of that.
Okay.
Thank you for asking that. She's awesome.
Sure, absolutely. I want to take this time to remind our podcast viewers of our upcoming Impressions Atlantic City show. It'll be held March 24th to 26th in Atlantic City, New Jersey. If you are looking for education, if you're looking for product sourcing, new product introductions, technology, it will all be on display at Atlantic City Impressions Expo. Again, March 24th to 26th in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Head to impressionsexpo.com for all the information and how to register and sign up to attend. Amber, as we've kind of navigated the pandemic, there seems to be now this sort of movement toward the concept of community within our industry. And I know we talk about that a lot in the pages of Impressions and also at our Impressions Expo events. Decorators helping decorators, people who might lack knowledge of certain things, and someone else having that knowledge, reach a hand out, share the knowledge, share the wealth. Let's all succeed together. I think that's become kind of a rallying point for the industry, especially as we're getting through the pandemic and everybody's trying to come out on the other side of it in a better spot. How do you see that in your local community among decorators? And have you recently reached a hand out to help someone or been helped by someone?
The community that I've met, mostly through Waterbase or through, it all started with Rock, with Ryan Moore. I'd call and say, I don't know how to do this.
Right.
Help. And he would say, oh, so-and-so's great. So-and-so's great. And that's just kind of how it started. I fell in love with Allmade. So I reached out to all the Allmade founders. Most of them are water-based printers. Water-based is tough and nobody locally really does it. So, I have guys everywhere that just, and if I call or a text, they answer questions. Ed Jewell is in Georgia. He is danger pressed. He is one of those just business people that's so good. He scares me. When I talk about, I don't do serious people, I walk in and he's like, bam, 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 bam. And it's like, but I learned so much. So he's my guy that I go to when I have a specific question. It's just been great. Jared Hennis, he's a big water-based guy. He was on a manual. So I'm asking people, I run an auto and I'm asking manual printers, like, how do you do the basics? Because I never learned the basics. I learned everything on YouTube, self-taught. And again, most people start on a manual and learn it and then go to an auto. And I just dove in. So, so it's been crazy. As for people helping, recently I met Jessica Tillery. She has the Loom movement, and we met in Texas at the All Made or the Made Lab launch, and she wanted to get to know me. And she's like, "Are you coming to Print Hustlers?" And I'm like, Chicago. And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "There's no tickets and I can't afford it, like way out of budget." And she said, "Well, if you can get a ticket, I'll pay for your hotels." Wow. Never met me. And she's just like, "You're so joyful. I love your energy. Let's hang out." So Ryan and then Ross Hunter at Rock covered my ticket. So I got to go there. So as for community there, she brought me in, and then we met more women and that kind of stuff. And then Rock invited me to the expo at Long Beach. That was the best opportunity ever. I got to spend time with the Rock team, run the machines, see things that I've never seen. But the best part was that all these new printers who are interested in auto got to talk to somebody who does it for a living. And that was just, I think I exchanged like 22 numbers.
That's
and they're
incredible.
just like, "Can we call you?" I'm actually going to Alabama spring break to train somebody who just got an auto.
Wow. Look at that.
And I'm just like, I just want to pay back. But so those opportunities, especially just the whole expo setting, to be able to talk to people that are interested, not salespeople, but somebody who does it every day, was just, I think that was huge just for everybody. I hope that all companies start to do that. I think that there'll be more of an interest in it. Because when you go to buy a car, like you have a car salesman, but you really want to ask somebody who owns and drives that type of car for 5-10 years, like, "Hey, how's this work? You know, would you change anything?" So I think so, I mean, I think the community's been great.
Good.
The diversity forum that Rock started together, that was probably the biggest kickoff during COVID. And just with all the controversy that went on, it brought people together. And what was cool is I laughed that it was like the Brady Bunch, where they throw up all the pictures and the people kind of look alike. But you're looking at a screen of like 20 something people. Nobody looks alike. And I mentioned before that a guy had on an Atlanta Braves hat. And all of a sudden I was like, "That's me. Like, I'm from Georgia." And then another girl had an Asian baby. And I'm like, "Mom, Asian child." So it's just awesome how people have platforms like you do come up with ideas to bring us, maybe not so much together, but just to bring us where we can see each other, maybe together, but then we have to connect. But we wouldn't have done it. Even like with a magazine, I've had so many people reach out, but they wouldn't have known my situation with anxiety or depression or being a woman-owned business without that article. So thank you for that. I think a lot of women are encouraged to see other women, especially in their 40s, doing it and making the move to an auto. Like an auto is the best mom job ever. I set my schedule, I print, I get it done because I know how many I can do, and I go to baseball games.
Incredible. I think when you, going back to what you said about the community and being at events and talking to somebody that, you know, might be a printer that's going through the same things that you're going through and learning from those people. I think that's one of the great things about being face-to-face at trade shows. And one of the things that underscores the importance of, you know, our goal coming out of the pandemic was always to get back to a place where we could safely be under the same roof and facilitate our community, our customers, our attendees and exhibitors being under the same roof, being able to talk face-to-face in front of each other, connect on certain, you know, issues, whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, just being able to be around people with the same interests, the same passions, the same, you know, business goals, whatever it is, being able to facilitate those relationships. So I'm glad that you said that. And I definitely do think you're right. It's something that is definitely an emphasis right now. And I think it's only going to get stronger as we move forward.
I think so. I will tell you the expo was I'd heard from so many people how alive. I mean, that was the descriptive word. Like, I feel alive because you're surrounded by people that love to do and are passionate about doing what we do. And inside the expo, you know, even though we had our mask on, we were so like vocal with our hands and the music. And then the after events, when the expo was over, different companies hosted dinners and everything was outside. So we got to take our mask off and actually, you know, talk and interact. And I mean, it was so much more than pre-COVID. It was like people realized what a family this industry can be. And I mean, just going to an expo like that, just to see all these people so excited. And it takes an event to pull people together. So I'm so glad that y'all hosted it. I'm so glad I got to be part of it. I mean, it was re-energizing, no doubt.
That's great. Great. Okay, let's do something fun. I'm going to clue the audience in because this is going to sound random, but we're going to play a game called Pick One. I'm going to give you two different choices. You're going to pick one and explain why you picked what you picked. And for the audience, this is totally not at random. Well, it may seem like it's random, but I'll explain.
My life is random.
Okay, so would you rather send a card to a friend or send a text to a friend? And let me explain. February 7th, for those that may not know, because I didn't know before I researched it, February 7th was National Send a Card to a Friend Day. So in honor of that, I guess, belatedly, Amber, would you rather send a card to a friend or a text message to a friend?
Okay. In addition to a text, I send videos.
Okay.
I send video text because my texting, as you can tell, talking to me is so wordy.
Okay.
And so confusing. I reply, I'd say to 90% of my text with a video.
Okay.
So I would send a video text.
Okay, video text.
I'm great at writing cards. They will never make it to the mailbox.
Oh, wow.
I know it. They're not.
Okay.
So text would be my answer, but it would be a video text. And it would be a funny one.
Okay. Everybody needs to laugh, right?
They are entertaining, no doubt.
Okay. All right. February 24th was National Tortilla Chip Day. So nachos or tacos? We hear about Taco Tuesday all the time.
We have one down the street. I'm tacos. One, because I can't make a decision. And nachos, okay, you have to choose what goes on top. Mm-hmm. Tacos, it just all comes together and done.
Wow,
I'm a fish and shrimp taco girl.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right.
I like nachos, but I don't like to make all the decisions.
I got you. Okay. Interesting perspective. I never thought about that. Okay. Last one. This is pretty easy. Baseball or football?
Oh, baseball.
Baseball. Okay.
Yes. Father-in-law up here.
Okay.
Chief. He just went to heaven last week. He retired Hall of Fame coach of Georgia. My husband coaches. I played softball through college. Our kids are playing baseball in college. One of the funny facts is I don't like unexpected noises. Football games are full of unexpected noises, like the air horns and people screaming for no reason, yelling and stuff. It gives me a little anxiety. So baseball, 100%. I love to watch football on TV though, just not in person.
Let's get back to those kind of statement tees or message tees, depending on how people want to think of them. Do you get a lot of orders for those types of T-shirts? And, do you see those types of T-shirts remaining popular beyond, this year?
I do. I think every T-shirt is a message T-shirt, whether it is a company logo or sports team. Mm-hmm. Usually your sports teams, they have a slogan for the year or a motto. So I think everything is a message tee if you look at it that way. Mm-hmm. Since COVID, or maybe even a little bit before COVID, the world has really looked at positive statements. I think those aren't going away. If you get up in the morning, if you get on your phone, you're never going to type in like, give me a negative message for the day or play me a sad song. That's how messages are on T-shirts. Everybody's looking for something to make them smile, to make their day better, to make other people's days better.
Right.
I don't see message shirts going away. One, it allows people to make a statement. It allows you to say what you believe in, even if the bullies are telling you can't.
Right.
Not very often do kids' shirts get banned in school unless, it's very controversial or deals with drugs and alcohol. You can pretty much wear what you want. Politics is a little iffy. But a T-shirt's just a way I get so wordy on this. A T-shirt, message T-shirt. It is a bold statement, no doubt. One of the girls I'm working with is the daughter of an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. She wants to make a statement to other girls to say, my dad's an alcoholic. I get it. I know where you are, without wearing a shirt that says daughter of an alcoholic. Right. So we've done scripture shirts that say, instead be filled with the Holy Spirit. So it looks like it is a Christian-based shirt, but it's a shirt that's just a good-looking shirt. But if you read the beginning of the scripture, it says, don't get drunk on wine.
Okay.
So any child who has been raised and gone through the Al-Anon or the AA child part of the program, they know that scripture. So if you were to see it, you would go, oh, wait, she might be a daughter or a family member of an alcoholic.
Right.
Those are the message t-shirts. It just gave me chills. Those are the message t-shirts that I love to print. I love to print hidden statements that empower people. So you belong.
Right.
Everybody belongs somewhere. You just have to find your tribe. Okay.
Very good. Back to your business. Let's talk about T-Shirts for Hope's business model. And I remember in the magazine article when we did the profile, you asserted that you really don't rely on e-commerce or that type of business. You don't focus on that type of business model. Is that still the case, number one? And number two, if so, why is that the case?
I am known, like if you ask people, they'll tell you that I'm a connector of people. That's what I do. I think that I was blessed with that. My dad calls it the gift of gab, meaning I talk too much, but I feel like I connect people. And I don't feel like e-commerce is where it is. We could have made so much money during COVID. And I just didn't feel called to do it. We worked with smaller groups. We worked with a lot of diversity groups on the college campus with artwork and just being able to pour into the kids and talk to them and really do a lot of mentoring and stuff. And if I would have focused on e-commerce, I would have missed out on that.
Okay.
I know that my job here too is to pray over shirts and to bring people a little closer to Jesus. In e-commerce, people buy it and that's kind of it. There's no follow-up or anything else. But face-to-face is definitely where I thrive. I mean, it fills my love tank. So I think that, and I'm paying the bills. So I'm going to stay there unless it's just meant to be.
Okay. All right.
I don't think it's meant to be though. I will say that.
Okay. I understand. And, I think, people who thrive in face-to-face environments, I think those are the people that we also love to serve. And we, again, encourage them to come to our events, see somebody, meet somebody. And you never know where those connections will lead.
Yeah.
So
I will come
that's great. That's great.
Decided when my son travel, and when he graduates in May, I'm traveling.
Okay. Perfect.
That's my goal.
You talked before about your experience at Impressions Expo out in Long Beach, running the press and meeting people. That's great. Do you have any plans to attend any more trade shows in the near future? Even if it's not an Impressions Expo, I won't be too mad.
I would love to go. Whoever's listening to this, I would love to go. In all honesty, budget is my issue. So that was my blessing with the Long Beach one, that Rock covered all my expenses. So that was just, I was all in and so excited to go anyway. So I would say if people can afford it to go, no doubt. But for me to be able to go and just to be able to share with people how fabulous screen printing is and just the industry, I hope that my passion for it, that other people saw it. And I think they did. I know they did because they've followed up.
If they came across you, I have no doubt that they saw it.
So I'd love to go to all of them. And it doesn't have to be to talk about rock, but I love rock. I love my rock press. I love the family. There's inks I love. There's groups of people I love, but I haven't met a lot of people. So if they didn't come to the rock press, I didn't meet them. Something that was amazing there. I got to teach the CEO of Rock International how to print a t-shirt. He had never printed one and he doesn't speak good English.
Okay.
And I talk so fast.
Right.
And he kept standing at my press and just staring, like mask on and just staring. And I was like, Fernando, you make me nervous. You have to go away or come here. Right. And he took his mask off and he came over and he goes, show me how to print. And I was like, what? So we took like 10 minutes and I showed him how to do it. And I forgot to put the pause on the machine, meaning I can do like 400 shirts quickly. I didn't hit pause. So after he put his first shirt on, it should have stopped. It didn't.
Okay.
And it goes flying.
Oh.
Like, I'm not going to say I almost took the arm off of the CEO of Rock International. It was really close, but we had videoed it. And, but he goes, oh, I broke it. And I was like, no. I'm like, that was a creative print. Like that was on me. But he printed, I think, 16 shirts. Like he was having so much fun.
That's incredible.
I put the pause on, but he would do one shirt at a time. And he'd go, is that okay? And that kind of pulled me back to my teaching. But it was the whole just being able to teach somebody something new and them loving it for the first time. That was just rewarding. So of all experiences that I got there, that was awesome. Just for somebody to just be so excited. I did work with another guy and his dad. Hopefully they're going to buy a press, but they're in Arizona and he asked if he could pay me to come out and train them. And I'm like, I don't work for them. And he's like, but can I pay you? Like, you're so patient and like, you really like this. If I buy a machine, can I pay you to come out? And I'm going, sure.
Right.
I didn't really think about it, but that was great for me too, with my depression, anxiety, to feel important.
Sure.
And it wasn't just somebody saying it. It was somebody realizing that I love what I do. And it just made me more passionate about it.
Right.
So again, that was being at the expo. So you may just look at it as an expo, but there are so many different things and small things that y'all affect that you don't know. Somebody with anxiety. I was so happy that whole week. I was so nervous about flying. Never thought about it on the way home. Like, didn't cross my mind because I enjoyed being there so much. So
incredible.
Just know that it's so much more than just an expo.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And I'm hoping, my hope, and I think my wish is that more people in our audience and in our community see it that way.
Well,
so,
if they don't, they can call me and I'll send them a video message back.
Perfect. Before we sign off, how can people follow you, like on social media? How can they get more information about T-Shirts for Hope and what your mission is?
T-Shirts for Hope, we're on social media. I say and a lot. It's at TS for Hope, FORHOPE, or Amber P. Massey. We're pretty active on Instagram. Facebook, same thing, a little bit on Twitter, trying to step it up. But my personal page is Amber P. Massey, and it's entertaining. To include my dog right here, it's entertaining. We post a lot of videos we don't edit them, but we post what really goes on in print shops. So it's fun to watch, and people will realize like, oh, I can do that. Like, it's normal to struggle on some things. So I would love for people to follow it. And we pray over every shirt. We pray over shirts when we take them out of the box, when I put it on the press, and when we box it. Something too, a lot of people don't know is I touch and print every shirt. I physically load every shirt. So some people say they're screen printers or they're shop owners. I physically do it all. And that's by choice. I am bringing on some people soon because we've grown so much, but I will always pray over every shirt. And right now, I think this weekend, we're printing like 3,800 pieces.
Wow.
Which is exciting, but at 47, I can feel it a little bit.
Sure.
So I am going to bring on some younger people who are passionate about having their own brands and stuff.
So, get some more hands to help.
Yes. Jordan, thank you so much for this opportunity. This was great.
Thanks to Amber Penny Massey of T-Shirts for Hope for joining us today. And thank you for listening to the Impressions Podcast. Remember, in everything you do, leave your best impression. We'll see you next time.